welcome to my second episode of zombie marathon watching. This is my second 10. On my last episode, I did 10 zombie films, ranked them from my least favorite to my favorite on the episode. And today I got 10 more coming right at you here. I also ranked these from my least favorite to my favorite, but I will start off by saying that my least favorite one here is a 3. So every single movie I'm about to show you is a watcher. I'm going to continue this for one more episode probably and give you another 10 in my next episode. Here's my first one. This is at number 10 here. This is The Crazies. Now, this could be argued whether or not it's actually a zombie movie. This is the remake of The Crazies. Because it's not really a zombie movie, like, the people are just sick. But, I mean, a lot of zombie movies, the people are just sick. They have some sort of rabies or something, so I'm going to include it. This one has Timothy Olyphant, amongst some other familiar faces, but he's the lead. And I actually enjoy this one a lot. Like, it's a fun just throw on. I've seen it quite a few times. I think I've seen it in the theater when it first came out, if I remember correctly. But it's got quite a few creepy parts. Like, I love this part where the two women are in the hospital and they're strapped to the gurney, and there's just the guy dragging the giant freaking axe down the hallway, coming to kill them one by one, basically. There's lots of intense moments, and I actually like the change up where it's just like insane people. I find that fun for a change, instead of just insanely rabid zombies ripping you apart. It's just, they give you a bad case of the crazies. That's what you get here. It's just a lot of people trying to survive in this town, can't figure out what's wrong, government experiment type stuff. Really good. Now, I haven't seen the original, George A. Romero's version. I've never seen it. He's a producer on this one, but I've never actually seen the original, so I need to give that a watch. I also don't even have the original, but I will get it sooner or later. But yeah, The Crazies. That would be a 3. This next one's a 3 for me as well. This is Warm Bodies. This one has a pretty stacked cast. This is like John Malkovich, Nicholas Hoult, Teresa Palmer, Dave Franco, amongst a handful of more familiar faces that you've seen before. This pretty decent budget. This is like, how do you classify this? This is like a rom-com, sort of like it's weird. It's like a zombie movie, romantic comedy, drama. But at first I didn't think I was gonna like this. When it was first on, I'm like, alright, it's probably gonna be just cheese fest. But as the story goes on, and you're listening to Nicholas Hoult, who's the main zombie here, and he's telling the story about what it's like to be a zombie at the beginning, and throughout the whole movie, but a lot at the beginning. And it's quite funny, like just how lonely it is, and how he's just walking around this airport endlessly with no goal. And then, I don't want to spoil, and then he meets Teresa Palmer, the lead actress, and he starts to develop feelings. And as the movie progresses, something starts happening to the zombies. And I don't want to spoil what. But then there's also like skeleton zombies that are just like have been around for so long that they're just vicious. They're the most brutal of all the zombies. They're like an upgraded zombie, basically. But there's a lot of good heartfelt moments here. There's great story development. I actually enjoyed this more than I ever thought I was gonna. I thought this would be last place in this 10 pile. And I gave it 9th. But yeah, give Warm Bodies a try. Next up here, this is a movie that got a lot of hate. And it's Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City. This is the newest in the live-action Resident Evil films. And this movie, like, everybody just hated all over it. And, like, I get some of the reasons why. But it's also, like, if you played any of the old Resident Evil games, this really tries hard to replicate, like, almost exactly what the first Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 2 did back on PlayStation 1. And a lot of the scenes are taken straight from the video game. And, oh man. Well, first off, I'll say that this looks and sounds phenomenal on 4K. Like, top quality. This is reference disc level of quality for 4K, especially for surround sound. Sony knocks it out of the freaking park. I find a lot of Sony's movies are really good on my surround sound, and it might be because my surround sound, well, Sony's also, like, specializes in speaker systems, right? Like, all my speakers are Sony. And I don't know what it is, but Sony movies just rumble my house. I always feel extra care went into the sound on this. But, like, oh man, it's so hard because if you're not a fan of the Resident Evil video game franchise, I can totally understand why this would be lower on your list. Because it does have quite a bit of cheese. A couple of the CG moments are a bit not the greatest. But I grew up playing Resident Evil 1 and 2. So just seeing the dogs come to life, the way they film the zombies attacking the people feels exactly from the games. I don't understand why fans of the video game shit all over this. Because, like, it does its absolute best to try to replicate the games. So, I don't know. I enjoyed it. To me, it's another 3. But it's not top quality shit here, but it's definitely worthy of a watch. I wish it did better because I would have loved to have gotten a second one. But that won't be happening. And, yeah, what can I say? Resident Evil, like, I think this is the best Resident Evil live-action movie they've ever made. It's better than all the Mila Jovovich movies. Like, some of those they're fun action movies. Like, I don't hate them. But, to me, like, that entire franchise is like a 2.5. Where this is just, I don't know, it feels more true to the true to the, like, source material. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, give it a watch. Like, why not? And then next here, I have George A. Romero's Diary of the Dead. This is directed by him. One of his last movies of his career. And this one kind of caught me off guard. Like, this one would be like this is like another 3, maybe a 3.5 here. But it's found footage zombie stuff. A guy's filming a movie with his friends, and the zombie outbreak happens, and basically it's just them traveling while crazy shit's happening around them. And I like some of the jump scares got me because of the found footage cam. It's easy to hit you with jump scares with that. It's kind of a cheat, but it's pretty well done. The storyline's good. Lots of creepy moments that I don't need to go into too much depth. Like, it's a George A. Romero zombie movie, so you kind of know what you're getting. He had a style, and he sticks with it for another of the Dead movies. But Diary of the Dead, if you don't have this, like, it says it's a masterpiece. 5-star on the cover. That's a little much, but whatever. It's good. It's not a masterpiece, but I would totally recommend giving Diary of the Dead a watch. Next up here, this is at number 6. This is 28. Oh, one sec. I got a freaking old sticker on this thing that I never took off. This is 28 Weeks Later. This is a hard movie to get your hands on Blu-ray. Now, geez, this is this one's really giving me some problems here. Just gonna take those stupid slips out. Yeah, 28 Weeks Later on Blu-ray. This one's hard because I actually really like this one. I think it's a great follow-up to 28 Days Later. Jeremy Renner is awesome in it. Rose Byrne does a pretty good job. There's a bunch of faces in here. Who else is in this? A bunch of people I know, I just don't. It's hard to, remember the names. Oh, Robert Carlyle. Excellent job. One of his best I've ever seen, actually. Got Idris Elba. Bunch of people. But it feels like classic horror zombie stuff. Like people are barricaded in a safe zone, and that safe zone's about to get overrun. But these zombies are some of the scariest zombies ever put in films, in my opinion. That they're just so fast and vicious and straight to the point. Like they just don't fuck around. There's the opening to this movie. I don't even want to spoil it because the opening is really good and well done. It sucks you in immediately, and you're like, "Oh shit, this movie ain't joking." And I really like that. 28 Weeks Later is a must grab. Pretty sure there's 28 Years Later coming, which I'm super excited to see what they do with that. Hopefully it's as good as this one, at least. But yeah, 28 Weeks Later, if you can get your hands on this Blu-ray, it looks great, sounds great. It'll probably never get 4Ks and stuff, so this is probably the only way to get it. And yeah, that's a rare one to get your hands on. I found it at, where'd I get that? It was my local, buy and sell used video store that's here in Woodstock. Record Works is the name of it. I found it there. It was for $3. I was like, are you joking? Like, this movie goes for $40, $50 here on buy and sell groups. But I'll take it. Next up here, this is from Scream Factory. This is Day of the Dead. Another George A. Romero classic here. This Blu-ray does come with the classic art as well. On the inside there, some classic stuff. And then there's even some more classic art that's on the disc. So, was never a fan of this growing up. This one used to bore me because it's a lot more story heavy. Takes place in a underground military base. Scientists doing some experiments on the zombies, trying to learn some stuff from them. And the head of the boss of the place, of the military, is kind of a prick, but here's the thing, I understand where he's coming from in the movie. Like, he's just like, why are we trying to figure out how to live with these zombies? Like, let's just smoke them, get rid of them. But gore effects are off the fucking chart in this movie. This is Tom Savini, obviously, always working with George Romero. Some of the effects are so freaking well done and cool. It's kind of like a visual masterpiece in that department. You're just like, oh man, this is awesome. Special features like galore. and they're fun because it's all making ofs and showing you how they did everything and showing you the tricks of the trade. But yeah, Day of the Dead, excellent. This is boosting up like 28 weeks later. Diary of the Dead is like a 3.5. 28 weeks later to me is a 4, and Day of the Dead is a 4. These are moving into elite zombie movie categories. If you haven't seen Day of the Dead, it's a must-see. Guaranteed. Now this one, another classic here. This is Night of the Creeps. I just have this regular edition here. It is a director's cut on Blu-ray. But yeah, Night of the Creeps. Where do I start? Tom Atkins is freaking amazing. Everybody's heard the classic "Thrill Me" catchphrase and line. Oh man, there's something about this movie. It feels so like campy and just well made. Like it feels like you're watching like a 50s zombies movie for the most part. Really well done. Tons of great comedy, mostly being delivered from Tom Atkins' mouth. But I love the teenagers or the high school setting and prom. I don't know, all the teenagers deliver well here. I really enjoy Night of the Creeps. It's hard. This one's another 4. I feel like if you haven't seen it, it's an absolute must-watch. It's hard. There's not much to spoil. Like, it's a couple teenagers unleash a lab experiment by accident of an old experiment that happened like 30 years before, and it brings on a zombie apocalypse. Well, not an apocalypse, a zombie uprising in their town. And lots of badass shit here. Must see. Soundtrack is amazing as well in the score. Next up here for this episode at number 3, I got Robert Rodriguez's Planet Terror. Now this one isn't for everybody, and it's another one that borderlines on zombies. It's just another like experiment. But this is the major edition here that has like the extended, unrated, all the different editions, packed with bonus features. An entire disc of just tons and tons, hours actually, of bonus features. Planet Terror. Stacked cast. Bruce Willis has a small role. Quentin Tarantino has a small role in this, where he's just a fucking douchebag. Yeah, stacked ass cast. Josh Brolin's a piece of shit in this. I like this movie, and I know it's kind of a cheat, but it's made in like old, well, it's Grindhouse. It's made in just old film reel style. Like there's sections of the movie where it's all just like burn lines and stuff in the film reel, and I love it. Like it just feels classy. It's weird to say that, but it puts it on a different level for me. Filmmaking, and then the comedy is excellent. There's a lot of great lines of comedy delivered throughout the movie. The storylines, it's average for a zombie movie. Like, they all have along the same lines for storylines, but it's still good. All the characters are well done. What's his name? Freddy Rodriguez? Yeah, Freddy Rodriguez, Michael Biehn, Jeff Fahey, Josh Brolin, Marley Shelton, Rose McGowan. It's fucking loaded with cast members. And Tom Savini has a part in this. His death is awesome. It's just an ooey, sticky, gooey, yucky ass zombie movie. So many nasty scenes, boils, where they squeeze them and they squirt all over people's faces. It's just like, ugh. It's gut-wrenching for the gore. I I don't know what to say about Planet Terror. Like, if you haven't seen it, you have to give it a try. It's great filmmaking. There's a sex scene in it between Rose McGowan and Freddie Rodriguez. And it's so funny because it's just like cutting from position to position. That, like, fade to black, next position, fade to black, next position. And then the scene gets so hot. This is what I think they meant by it. The scene's so hot that the film reel bursts into flames. And then it cuts to wording that says, "We apologize, the film reel is missing for this section." So that's all you get to see for the sex scene. And then it cuts back to the movie. Just little stuff like that. Just feels so well made, and heart and thought went into it. You can really tell that they cared about what they were making here. Obviously, Rose McGowan with her freaking machine gun leg. I'm not the biggest fan of how they decide to end it, but it's not shit by any means. It's just, I wish they went somewhere different with the ending. But yeah, this is another 4 from me. Excellent stuff here. Zombie genre is such a stacked genre. It's kind of nuts because I still got 2 left. We're already 3 into 4s here. Next up here, I have 28 Days Later. Now this has an old scrappy ass slipcover on it. I'm just going to take that right off. This is the Blu-ray. Another funny story with this is a hard movie to get here in Canada as well. Really difficult to get your hands on. I found this at Goodwill. Actually, my Goodwill sticker is still on it. I paid $3.29 for it with a slipcover. And it came with 2 copies of the movie inside it. And it's not disc 1 and disc 2. They're just 2 separate copies of the movie. So I was like, fuck yeah. What a score that is. Like, people are selling this for ridiculous prices on, like, Facebook Marketplace and stuff. It's like 45. I've seen it as high as $70. Some people, I'm like, holy moly. But this movie is notorious for how awful it looks. Like, this Blu-ray looks like VHS quality, but that doesn't bother me at all. I feel like it's made for this movie. Sorry, freaking hot and dry in here. Now, here's the thing. To me, this is just another 4. This doesn't go up to elite levels like it does for some people. I know this is like a lot of lists. It's like one of the greatest zombie movies ever made. Now, it is like a top 20 for me, but it's not in my top 5. I find the middle of the movie too slow. I love when they get to the military base. I enjoy the character development of all these characters. I understand why it slows down so much, and just trying to give you a good feel of that. And that's why it's a 4 for me. That's why it's second best of this episode. Because there's just so many good scenes. This is like the introduction to... This is the first movie I've ever seen that has sprinting, fucking vicious, ferocious zombies in it. It might be the first one to ever do zombies like this. But they're just terrifying. Like, these are not your run around them zombies. These are fucking... If you're not in athletic shape, you're kind of fucked. I would be toast in a world with these zombies. But, man, there's a great scene with Brendan Gleeson, who plays the father of a teenage girl. And I don't want to ruin that scene in case you haven't seen the movie, because it's a really, like, just good, well-made scene. But once they get to the army base, it turns into, like, another movie, basically. And I enjoy every second of that army base section. And the opening, too. If you ever wanted to see Cillian Murphy's dick, He shows it in the opening of this movie. Full frontal reverse nudity, the whole deal. But yeah, I always say Cillian Murphy. I used to pronounce it Cillian Murphy. That just rolls off the tongue better than Killian, but I'm pretty sure it's Cillian Murphy. But yeah, 28 days later, if you can get your hands on that on Blu-ray or whatever, really, it's probably good enough on DVD because the quality of it is it can only look so good because of the camera that Danny Boyle used. And then my number one of this episode. This is a absolute must-own on 4K here. This is Train to Busan. Now, for me, this is a 5. So I'm just going to skip 4.5 here. This is just phenomenal shit. To me, this is one of the greatest zombie movies ever made. I absolutely love the story in this. Just has everything. It's got martial arts sections. It's got some of the creepiest moving, best designed zombies in zombie movie history. It's got one of the most heartfelt storylines in zombie movie history. It probably is the most heartfelt. It's just so well made. And some of the scenes, man, where the zombies are just sprinters, they're like World War Z zombies, where they just start piling over top of each other as they're trying to get to you. Practically impossible to get away from. Some of the scenes in this are off the chart. Just love Train to Busan. I just picked this 4K up about 2 months ago. Reasonable price too. I got it off Amazon. It was actually like cheap. I think it was like $14.99 or something. Like it was not expensive. And I have, the only version of it I had was in a 4-pack that came with 4 other movies. And you know, I've said this before, I'm not a big fan of packs. Like, I want all my movies in individual packaging. It's an OCD thing. I just like, when I look at my collection, I like to see all the titles on the spines. But that's just me. So I had to grab this immediately. Great movie. 5 out of 5 for me. Excellent in every department. Definitely watch it in its Korean original language with subtitles. I switched it over to English and it's not good. It'll just ruin the whole movie experience because the voice acting isn't good enough, so you're not going to feel the emotion of the scenes and what's coming out of characters' mouths. You have to, it's one of the biggest reasons why you have to watch movies in their original language, because you're not going to feel, like, there's so many movies I have in my collection where they're almost like 2 separate movies. Not almost, they pretty much are 2 separate complete films, and when you're watching them in dubs or original language, because you just miss out. They, like a lot of the old classic Godzilla movies, I find they become like just over the top comedies when you watch them in English, but when you watch them in Japanese, they sound pretty damn good. I'm gonna wrap up for this zombie. This is my 10 for this episode here. I'm gonna bring you one more episode on Friday that's another 10. I'm already diving into them and watching them right now, ranking them. But I'm gonna throw in a couple things. I know I'm not gonna... Here's the thing, I just watched Godzilla -1, and it was on Netflix. And I know I swore to myself I would never talk about streaming shit on my channel. This was going to strictly be media, like home media that you can purchase, physical media. I am going to buy Godzilla -1 when it comes out. I'm hoping it's later this year, around Christmas. I will buy the best freaking edition you can possibly get of that movie when it comes out. Can't wait. So I'm just going to talk about it now because it's kind of relevant now. But I'll also talk about it when I finally get the best edition you can get. I'll show that off on here. But I just watched Our Life in Horror, Brendan's review from Our Life in Horror. And I agree with him in some aspects. Like, for me, this is in the top probably 3 Godzilla movies of all time for me. But I did find it slightly overhyped. People were talking like about this like it was the holy grail of filmmaking, basically. And listen, this is a 4.5 to a 5. I haven't decided. I'll decide that final score when I get the 4K in my hand and watch all the different versions and some special features and stuff. I want to learn more about this, and I hope they bring more, because it is exciting. I'm not a hater of the American ones. I haven't seen the new one. That one looks terrible, but I don't mind the 2014 one. I thought it was okay. I absolutely loved King of the Monsters. I don't know, it's like a spectacle. It just feels like just a massive spectacle of a film, and I like those once in a while. And I didn't mind Godzilla vs. Kong. It was a step in the wrong direction, but I still had some fun with it. And it is one of the greatest 4Ks I've ever seen. It's just absolutely beautiful. Kong Skull Island was actually quite fun. I didn't mind that. So I'm not a hater. The one I hate the most is probably the 98 or 97's Godzilla. The CG does not hold up in that. It's fucking terrible. I have it on 4K and it just looks brutal. There's some okay comedy in it. But this new Godzilla -1, sorry for getting off on a sidetrack there. I have tons of Godzilla, so I'll probably do an episode in the future that's just a massive Godzilla episode, so I'll save all my ranting for that and just do -1. I love the storytelling in this. I think that this would have been, personally, I think this would have been the perfect movie if they shaved about 15 minutes of slow down drama off of it. About 15 minutes. So that would drop it down to about 1 hour and 45. And then also added left it at 2 hours, sorry. So shave off the 15 minutes of drama and slow down. And add 1, maybe 2 more scenes of action and intensity. And then, to me, it would have been the perfect movie. Because I wanted more. I just wanted to see a little more Godzilla. But what they show of him is all excellent. I love the way he walks. I love the way he looks. I love his nuclear fucking blast breath. It's just phenomenal. I love the final act. Thought it was excellent. Love what they decide to do. This is a movie that I will be revisiting, and I can't wait to get this on a fucking beautiful 4K, because streaming just doesn't do it for me. I can just see all the pixels, and it's just not, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of streaming. To me, streaming sucks the film right out of films. Soon as I click on a stream, I can see the pixelated sections, some of the scenes in streaming, not all movies, but some of them, it just has slow down and lag a little bit once in a while. And because I have 5 people running internet in my house, usually all around the same time, so that sometimes I can lower the quality of the stream. But this still looked and sounded great, don't get me wrong, on Netflix. But I just know that on 4K this one's gonna blow my mind. So I'm super excited. Can't wait to get my hands on that. But yeah, I'll let you go for this episode. I'll give you one last peek. There's my ranking from worst to best here. But 3s all the way to a 5. That's what I'm dealing with out of these 10. And I'll be back in 2 days with another 10. I already have them pulled out and sitting over there, and I've already watched a couple of them. So I'm getting there. It's just a fucking zombie marathon. I'm enjoying it though. I'm not even burnt out, and I'm 22 movies into an endless zombie. In the last no, because the weekend counts. So we got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and I'm recording this on a Tuesday night. So I got like 4.5 to 5 days, and I've watched 22 zombie movies in 4.5 days, and other stuff too. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. Like, I don't know how many zombie movies I actually have in my collection. Might just, like, I'll finish this week up, these next 10, and see how I feel, but maybe I'll do another freaking 10 on Monday. I don't even know. It depends on how I feel this weekend. But yeah, thanks for joining me yet again. I'll talk to you in a couple days.